been a great weekend over the past week. You know, doing a lot of things, doing some media press, watching some great fights. So, you know, it's been a good one. So we're going to get into some of the highlights of the weekend. First of all, we had Demetrius Andrade versus Jason Quigley. Took him out. It was meant to be on paper a decent fight, but it just dealt with him in 2 rounds. Dropped him in the first round with a sort of winging overhand right, and then dealt with him in the. We had Julio Cesar Martinez. He was fighting Arroyo. What's his first name? Again, it was McWilliams Arroyo. Um, McWilliams Arroyo, he seemed to drop Martinez in the first, but the ref ruled it a slip or just a no knockdown basically. And then Martinez dropped Arroyo back, and the ref counted it. Then he dropped him again in the was it the third round, I believe. He dropped him again. That was another count, and then but there was a clash of heads, and in the corner, Arroyo said himself, "Oh, I can't see. I don't want to continue no more." So, but the ref called it. That went to the no, just ruled it a technical decision because 4 rounds wasn't completed, and Eddie Hearn wasn't happy because Arroyo pulled himself out rather than the doctor or the ref even saying, "Let's look at the cut and see what it is saying." But it is what it is. It was a no contest. We had who else did we have on the card? We had what's her name? Callie Reese. She won a decision over Chimera. We had Leo Ko. He got a draw surprisingly in his second outing. I didn't manage to watch that fight, but I heard that the draw was fair. So we move on to the highlights anyway, the ones that I did, because I did watch Quigley, Andrade, and I did watch Callie Reese and Chimera, and I did watch Martinez and Arroyo, but I didn't watch the Leo guy. But yeah, so over at the S, and I don't know what just happened there, but we had Azeez fighting Jose Burton. On paper, a lot of people in the trade were saying Burton will probably win, be too much, or Burton will, you know, start the better. I even thought myself that he would probably win the first 3 rounds with the pinging 1-2s, because he's got a very good 1-2. He started adding the left hook into it lately, like when he knocked out Liam Conroy in his last bout. Who, funny enough, Liam Conroy is the person that Joshua Buatsi beat for the British title. So it just shows you Liam Conroy is a good fighter himself. And yeah, and then I thought after 5 rounds, Burton will start to fade, and Azeez will, you know, start to come on top and win a points decision. That's what I believed. But from the first round, Azeez, he seemed to start out jabbing Burton, landed a long jab, got very long arms, even though he's shorter, and putting the pressure on him, and he was just sort of beating him up throughout. I gave Burton the second. After that, it was all Azeez. Azeez was, you know, hurting him with using power jabs, you know, good right hands, just bullying him, talking to him, telling him come in the middle of the ring, let's fight. I don't know if he would say let's bang out, as he does at times. And Burton was, yeah, he seemed to just fold up. Even at the end, he was sort of like, it's like he kind of like put his hands up to surrender, and that's what prompted the referee to step in. So Azeez is now the British champion. He's won the Southern area, the English, and now the British, and he's just looking very good, very impressive. He impressed me. The best I've seen him perform. The only other performance I'd say, probably second best performance I've seen of him, was when he beat Charlie Duffield. But you see what it is, going by people's last performance, you can't always judge how they will perform in a title fight. I.e., Dan Azeez, when he fought Ricky Summers, he didn't look good, and a lot of people going by both of their last performances say Dan Azeez versus Ricky Summers, um, Jose Burton knocking out Liam Conroy now, then you would have thought on paper, then Dan Azeez, Burton would win, because people say, oh, you're only as good as your last fight. That's the normal little saying, ain't it? But you can't always go like that. But yeah, Dan Azeez has called out every light heavyweight under the sun in Britain, so that would be, someone was talking about a super 6 series or super series with 8 contestants or whatever, and they said there'd be Dan Azeez, Craig Richards, Callum Smith, Callum Johnson, Joshua Boatsi, Shakan Pitters, and they were saying they wouldn't put Yard wouldn't make the Super 6. But if there was a Super Series, I think there's 8 contestants, so then next would be Yard, and then who would be the last person to make 8? I'm not quite sure, but Lyndon Arthur. I'm saying Lyndon Arthur, isn't it? Of course. And so they would put Lyndon Arthur as well. So yeah, and that'd be very interesting if they was to all mix it up. But as we know, the worst kept secret in boxing right now is Callum Johnson's going to be contested for the light heavyweight title, WBO, against Joe Smith Jr. And I'm sure, because Frank Warren's got very good ties with the WBO, so he's always going to get first dibs on that title shot, whereas Eddie gets first sort of dibs on the WBA. IBF and WBC is, even Stevens between the promoters, but Frank Warren, he's got the WBO on deck. Eddie Hearn, WBA on deck. So I imagine the winner of Yard and Arthur next week will contest the winner of Callum Johnson versus Joe Smith Jr. So Frank Warren's obviously banking on Callum Johnson being a good banger and that, banging out Joe Smith, and then he'll have an all-British world title fight, and that will really rejuvenate his promotional companies. They seem to be, trailing behind, very fast and very, very quickly. So moving on, we had Richie Riakporhe versus Duradola. Duradola, 41 years old now. I saw it the way in, his legs did look a bit shaky and shot to bits. He was walking like an uncle. But he's got 33 knockouts out of 36 wins, so he can always punch. And he seemed to hurt Richard at one point, probably in the 3rd or 4th, when Richard almost dropped him at the end of the 1st with a good combination. Had Duradola reeling back and the bell went. That was at the end of the 1st. At the start of the 5th, Richard hit Duradola with a nice left hook as he was circling round to his left, and Duradola went over. He got up. Richard, put the onslaught together. Good combinations, firing away. Duradola was reeling and stuff, and ref stopped it, rightly so. Good stoppage win. A big KO was from Mikel Lawal. He dropped his guy twice in the 2nd round. The 2nd knockdown, he used a Golovkin turnover hook. That was very impressive. I thought he was going to get him out of there with a 3 knockdown rule, but the guy survived. Then rounds 3 and 4 happened. Round 5, Lawal was looking tired to me. I was thinking, oh no, it's just going to go on to points or whatever, because it was an 8-rounder. And Lawal pulled out walked his opponent onto a big right hand, and it folded him like a deck chair. Got up, tried to get up anyway, and was just slumped, and he had to be taken to hospital, unfortunately, for just precautionary measures. But I heard he's okay now, so that's great news basically to hear. Also in the card we had Florian Marku. He was fighting Jorik Luizetto. this guy was tough as nails. I heard he was a kickboxer afterwards, from Marcu's trainer. Um, so yeah, that guy was tough as nails. Everything Marcu hit him with, he wasn't really budging. The entrance Marcu had was like a rock star, superstar, pop star, whatever. You know, the crowd was going wild. You see all the phone lights going off, you know, camera phones and that. Great entrance. If you had put Dan Azeez or Richard on before Marcu, put Marcu on, you know, third to last, most of the arena would have left because there was a lot. It was mainly Albanian. I wouldn't say mainly Albanians in there, but it was Marcu fans, Florian Marcu fans basically. There was too many of them to put Marcu on earlier, so it was a smart move on their part. Yeah, it looked good. 78, 75. He sort of slowed down towards the latter end, but he won enough of the early rounds where, you know, it was a comfortable victory for him. And he moves on. Natasha Jonas, she stepped in for Caroline Dubois, against a woman named Veda. So, Matt, can't pronounce her second name, but her first name is Veda. Yeah, 6-rounder. Yeah, and won comfortably enough. And then she went on to do punditry, so she did 2 jobs in one night. Didn't have no bruising on her, so very good job by her. She said she's looking to get the ball rolling, you know, next year with Sky Sports Boxer. You know, they've got a plan for her, and yeah, we're looking forward to seeing that because she's still a world-class fighter. And you know, there's been women who I don't believe are as good as her or as talented as her who have won world titles. So it'd be a shame if she doesn't, by the end of her career, win a world title, because I think she deserves that at the end of the day. So then moving on to Crawford. Should we move on to there? Yeah, we'll move on to now. Terence Crawford versus Sean Porter. Terence Crawford looked very good. He stopped Sean Porter in the 10th round. Funny enough, Craig Richards, he predicted, was it 6-10 or 7-10, something like that. He predicted he got the prediction right. He got it right. So well done to you, Craig. And I thought it was going to be a points win for Crawford. But I did say that maybe the accumulation of punches that Porter has taken over his career, amateur and pro, could catch up with him and it did. It caught up with him, and you know, Crawford was using some good body shots to try and slow Porter down. Very effective strategy there. Porter was winning quite a few of the rounds on his aggression, backing, you know, Crawford up, hitting him good shots and stuff. It was a very good fight. And going into the 10th round, Crawford was talking to someone outside the ring. I don't know who it was, but they was telling him that Crawford's up. He was like, what? How? Like, looking confused, and they were like, he's up. And then he's telling his coaches, like, they're up, and they're like, concentrate, I'm trying to talk to you, to concentrate. And he was like, he's up, and he's like, all right. So it was reminiscent of the Gervonta Davis Floyd Mayweather dialogue when he was saying that he's up, and what's his name, Tank was like, what? How? Basically. And Floyd was like, I ain't gonna lie to you, I'm gonna keep real with you, and all that. And then Gervonta went out and took Barrios, took him out. So yeah, but where it is, as good as that win was, there is some things I will say. So, you know, going through this, you know, if you look at Porter now, someone was saying, I think, yeah, we ain't gonna do silly shots. Base the Kid, I remember he said yesterday on another podcast that you know, Crawford did a better job than Errol Spence, etc. And did Errol Spence manage to cut Porter like Terence Crawford did? And straight away, No, he didn't. But that was by a clash of heads. The cut was from a clash of heads. If you're talking about someone who cut Porter with a punch, then we talk about Dennis Ugas because he cut him with a punch. Um, that was in the 10th round of their fight. He cut him with a punch. But with Crawford, that was a clash of heads. So you can't really get excited of that. Um, Porter he has been down 5 times during his past 9 fights. So the punch resistance has started to wane and fade away. He got dropped by Adrian Broner in the 12th. Adrian Broner's like super feather coming through the weights or whatever. Caught him at the beginning of the 12th, I remember. But obviously he won the fight. Yes, Danny, did you not find that Porter was always in second gear, but when needed to pick up the pace, he put it in higher gear with ease? Yes, he did. He did pick up the gears. But I wouldn't say he was in second gear because Sean Porter don't allow nobody to be in second gear. He's too on you. You can't be in second gear with someone like Sean Porter. He's too aggressive, too rugged, very bores in. So you can't really be in second gear with someone like Sean Porter. But yeah, it was going back to Sean Porter. He's been down 5 times in his last 9 fights. He got dropped by Adrian Broner in the 12th. He got dropped by Dennis Ugas in the 12th. He got dropped by Errol Spence in the 11th. And then he's been dropped by, obviously, Terence Crawford in the 10th twice. So the punch resistance has started to go. He said in his post-fight interview that, he was looking to retire after the Spence fight. So you see, when a fighter's already got a plan, when they say, oh, I'm going to retire by age 30, for instance. From then, they're already looking at the fire exit. From then, they're mentally halfway out the door. So he said from before the Spence fight, he was looking to retire after the Spence fight. From that Spence fight's done, he's lost it. He's mentally retired. Remember, that was only 2 fights ago. So he's mentally retired. He beat up Formella, whatever. And then he went in with Crawford. So he's lost 2 of his last 3 fights. You have to take that into consideration also with this win. What else? He's fought everybody, amateur and pro. So we've got to take that. We'll go through the names of the amateur people he's fought. Jesse Hart, Luis Arias, James DeGale, Danny Jacobs, J. Leon Love, Willie Monroe Jr., Alexander Usyk, Carlos Gongora, Edwin Rodriguez, Sean Estrada, as a pro, Paulie Malignaggi, Andre Berto, Kell Brook, Keith Thurman, Danny Garcia, Adrian Broner, Ray Robinson, the one who fought Josh Kelly, not Sugar, Alfonso Gomez, Dennis Ugas, Errol Spence, Terence Crawford, Devin Alexander. That's a big resume. You can't say he ever ducked or was shook. He always brought the heat. He never gave you half an effort. But Crawford did beat a Porter that was done. The dad Kenny said, I was ready to throw the towel from before the fight because he knew from his training this wasn't the Showtime Sean Porter that he knew to be. He could tell. He said, when a man's looking up at the clock and training or whatever, this guy is. You could see that he was already, ready to retire. He knew he was going to retire. So, Crawford fought a man who's in retirement mode. Let's keep it a buck. But it was a great fight, a great performance. Errol Spence, he left the building. He didn't get in the ring, but he contradicted himself. He said he would never go to a Terence Crawford fight. He turned up at the fight. Maybe he was trying to weigh up to see if Porter could beat Crawford, or if Crawford would struggle with him, to kind of gauge. And as Crawford, you know, got him, like, stopped him, got his dad to throw the towel in, even though it was a shot, not shot, but faded Sean Porter. So it looked on paper he's done a better job. And Errol Spence, he left the building. I didn't like that. It hurt my heart. I've gone on record. I've said it hurt my heart. He got up. I was like, oh, why are you doing that for, man? You got to get in the ring and move to him, or not move to him, but you know, get this flowing. It's flowing, man. But I imagine he's gonna go after you, Gas. Get the third belt and then demand a 60-40 split or something around that nature, because it'll be 3-1 in belts, and the WBO being the weakest out of the whole four. Terence Crawford, he's announced that he's leaving Top Rank. Bob Arum, his contract runs out at the end of this month. Bob Arum looked very sour, but he can't really complain because he was the one talking greasy about Terence Crawford can't sell, he can't sell this, he can't. What Terence Crawford said, what he said in front of Bob Arum, and he said it respectfully. He said, "I wish everybody the best." So he didn't even. He could have gone a bit worse, but he kept it nice and respectful, you know. And I don't understand why Terence Crawford ain't a superstar, because he has every attribute to be a role model, you know, and he has star quality. He's got personality. He's got that street fire in him. He's a family man. He's been with his woman since, you know, they were teenagers. He's got his kids. He shows his kids winning wrestling tournaments. You know, he's a nice guy. He's from Omaha, Nebraska. You know, he should have the whole city behind him, because they ain't really got much going on around there. They're right around the corner from New York, but you know, it's not really a city that's popping and thriving like that. And he's just a good dude, you know. He just keeps things respectful when he's a family man, and you know, he's a very good, honest pro, and gone through the things. He's travelled to fight when he beat Ricky Burns out in Scotland. So yeah, I don't know. Bob Arum's done a very disservice and a bad job in promoting him, in my opinion. So hopefully another promoter like PBC or Matchroom, I'm sure, will try and sign him. But I think PBC will be better because they've got all the fighters over there. I see Keith Thurman talking about in 8 months he'll be ready to fight Terence Crawford. I'm just like, okay, whatever, man. I don't know if you're trying to cash out or what, because you ain't fought in over 2 years. And you ain't even got a date scheduled. You still ain't got a star in your name on the scheduled list. You ain't even mentioned there's even any negotiations with you and an opponent. So I don't know why you're talking. Errol Spence was saying, "What, you want to go? You're moving all weird." One time, oh, come on, stop. So yeah, I think that's about it. If you have any opinions and any discrepancies or agreement, then leave your comments in the comment section below. Make sure that you like, subscribe, hit the bell button for notifications. It's Danny Glover from Fight Fan TV Live. Make sure that you check out keep up to date with me as well, also on the Instagram for the latest and greatest news. And remember, persistence beats resistance. So we're out.